That's right, brothers and sisters, to Zion, to Zion. We're the elders of the Gathering of Christ Church here live with our weekly Sabbath lessons, Shabbat Shalom, to our brothers and sisters throughout the four corners of the earth. How are you doing? Doing well? Shabbat Shalom to you brothers and sisters throughout the four corners of the earth. Tomorrow we will be going into a deep lesson. Satan, listen to me clearly, Satan in Mecca at the Kaaba stone. You can find Satan in a few places in the earth, right? Where he meet with his high priesthood within these specific areas. The Vatican is numero uno. Mecca, number two. The Wailing Wall, the Dome of the Rock in Israel, number three. You're going to find out there's a reason that Christians, Muslims, and Jewish people under Judaism are all worshiping in the same area near the time of the coming of our Lord and Savior Christ. But tomorrow we'll focus on the satanic rituals at Mecca. Okay? We're going to drop what's really going on at the Rock tomorrow. Ishmael have been playing us close for a long time, working with Esau on either side against our people. And this has happened since the beginning, folks. We're talking about way back in ancient times. In the area of Idumea, Esau and Ishmael has conspired against us since we received the promise. Since Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel, have received the promise, all nations have been conspiring against us with Esau and Ishmael at the helm. And it's all coming to a head. It's all coming to a head, folks. And that's why I'm about to go into this lesson. So I hope you are there this coming Sunday, tomorrow. Satan in Mecca, the God over Islam. Allah is not the God of the Hebrews. Let's make this clear. Allah, the God they serve, is Satan, and I'll prove it.
Islamic religion is a very interesting combination of moon worship and Saturn worship and Venus worship. Venus is very big in the Islamic religion. You look up the word sin or Allah, it will tell you that Allah in Islam is actually the moon god Sin, S-I-N. And you'll see moon god virtually everywhere in the Middle East. And then we get to this article points out that the original Yahweh was only another form of this primitive lunar deity of Arabia. So Yahweh of the Hebrew religion was actually Sin, Ai. And this is why even in Israel today, they do not spell synagogue S-Y-N. In Israel, they spell it S-I-N. Because synagogue was the house of worship of the god Sin. Synagogue. Islamic religion is a...
Now, let me make it clear. Is this an indictment on the believers within or under Islam who are Muslims? No. There are devout Muslims who truly believe and are morally sound. Okay? And have sought God within that religion. Some people were born into it. They couldn't help what their father and mother taught them. So there's some people, honestly, in these religions, just like in Christianity, folks, that are good people and hold the moral code that's within God's law in those religions. So this is not an indictment on Muslims. But as you go higher in degrees, when you get to the top of these religions, is where you really start to figure out who they're serving. Just like Masons. Masons usually come in for the camaraderie and all that. And they be good, honest people looking to seek and help the community. But as they go up into degrees and they get walked into a room, right? And it's like, what is this? Be like, well, listen, if you want to get to the next degree, we need to tell you what you're going into. Because Satan have always operated not just on the evil side. He created the tree of good and evil. So usually good within these religions are the bait. The pure, honest reason that we're choosing the religion is the good. See, that's the honest side of it. But not realizing that you're being what? Baited into something more seriously sinister. So when I go into these religions, I know we're living in a time of political correctness where everyone gets offended. And I'm telling you, this is not an indictment on Christians or an indictment on Muslims who are honestly seeking God. That's why we're here. At the end of time, which we're entering into, brothers and sisters, you know the truth will be revealed and the lid will be pulled off of all these religions at the very end. And then you have a choice, an honest choice, on whether or not you're going to come to the true God you thought you were serving within these religions. Now you can't hide behind my mother or father or whatever the case is. And this is the religion I growing up, learning and practicing under. Once you get the full understanding, now it's on you to choose to stay in it or choose right. So again, when I go into Islam tomorrow, this is not an indictment on Muslims. But I don't think you understand what's really going on over there at the Kaaba stone. Now, if you followed God and followed the Bible and understood that idolatry is sacrilege according to the Bible, if you understood that you're not supposed to bow down to anything on earth, any image, including a stone, that in of itself would save you from the judgment that's coming to Mecca and those who believe within that religion. See? So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. I don't want to spend too much time on that because, folks, the reason why I don't want to spend too much time on that because we're living in a time right now where the whole world is deceived, not realizing we're living in the end of days, and you have conspirators at the apex of this. Conspirators. In Arabs, Ishmael is complicit. Any place God's people are, our people, their plan is on either side. Either Esau is coming against us, or they'll lay off and let Ishmael hit us in a different direction. But they're still working in tandem to destroy us. They've been the controllers of our community, economically and otherwise. And this is why our people got to stand up against this garbage, black or brown crap they're using politically. It's too ambiguous. When they say black or brown, that means we should let somebody in our circle strictly because they have hue in them, which is utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. We've been attacked by black and brown people who are not our nation for eons. So what are you talking about aligning me with a person because he have hue in him? That's utterly ridiculous. That's been their Trojan horse to destroy us at the very last. And I hope our people are understanding this. We've been in a battle on two fronts. One front, the battle between Jacob and Esau. Unfortunate for us, we don't know we're Jacob and don't know that we're in a war. But he's on something else, and I'm going to show you. Unfortunate for us, we don't know that they're at war with us. We believe if we do all the right things and don't harm other people and be honest and look to take care of our family, which is good, but we believe that if we do all this, then no one should have a reason to undermine or destroy us. You are naive. You could be the most honest, best person on earth, and it's not going to change the fact how the enemy views you as a threat concerning the fall of when it comes to looking at the fall of their empire and what comes next for your children. So just because you think you are an honest person and ain't hurting nobody and why are people coming against me, listen, that's not a part of the game. Okay, they're going to come at you because of who you are prophetically and what happens for your family next when their empire falls. So they're looking to get the threat out of the way before prophecy is fulfilled. You got that? As long as you're breathing on this earth and it can bring forth another child of Jacob, you are a threat to their existence, or at least their power structure going on beyond the time which was prophetically given to them. You are a threat to that. That's why they don't mind if our women get rid of over 500,000 children every year. And they'll tell you, well, don't worry about it. It's a woman's choice, knowing that it always, whatever they roll out, it indirectly affects the poor disproportionately by default.
Because of Donald Trump. And understand, he is not done. As a part of his agenda, he and his allies would limit access to birth control, ban medication abortion, and enact a nationwide abortion ban with or without Congress. And get this, he plans to create a national anti-abortion coordinator and force states to report on women's miscarriages and abortions. Simply put, they are out of their minds.
So you'll see a few of their people doing it, but at the end of the day, you'll see 500,000 of our people not getting that opportunity to breathe. That's why they don't care, because they understand the prophecy. So we going on in this day. I'll do all my announcements later. We jumping right in. The end of days. The end of days is our particular lesson today. Elder Lawyer, if you will.
Yes, sir. Shema Yasha'Allah Ahaya Allahayanawa Ahaya Achad.
Shema Yasha'Allah Ahaya Allahayanawa Ahaya Achad.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one God. Now, jumping right in. The end of days. We're going to talk about this. Okay? On the geopolitical side, for those who don't understand what's going on, I'm going to break this down in a nutshell before jumping in to the Bible. Because sometimes we here in America looking at things through the lens of the satanic lying media tend not to view what's going on in the earth as one prophecy. The end of days. We think that what's going on in America is independent from the rest of the world. That's our thought. They're programmed and isolated us to believe, under the guise of patriotism, that we're sheltered from prophecy or whatever the case is, that everything and every other land in the earth is independent with their own government and with their own problems to solve. So I'm going to quantify this for you politically. Everything you see that went down in the Middle East after the so-called World Trade Center, and well before that they were doing this. Okay? And I'm talking about Desert Storm, the invasion on Iraq, the takedown of Libya, the takedown of Afghanistan to get lithium to use for the devices that they'll track us with. Lithium is where it's in the mountains of Afghanistan. That's why they had to take Afghanistan, for the devices to track people. Now, going all the way into what? The Arab Spring in Egypt for regime change and all that. When we heard of who? ISIS, Al-Qaeda. You notice they're magically disappeared? Hamas, right? Now Hamas is the new boogeyman, right? Everything that you see internationally, we're going to go into, but understand it's the same playbook that's about to go down here in America. What is the playbook? Y'all might ask. Well, Elder Ricard Shiar, what is the playbook? Well, you must have a boogeyman. Esau, being the cunning hunter, must always have a boogeyman to fight behind. So that's why they'll talk about terrorist groups and this group or that group. So now when they attack that particular group unjustly or attack the targeted people, they can now blanket it and say, well, all the people that we were targeting from the beginning was a part of Al-Qaeda, ISIS, or whatever boogeyman they create. See what I'm saying? You understand? So now no one can now what? Come against or question their unethical attacks because they wiped out a group that was a threat to all of us. That's how Esau worked. Now, what if you allow people to come over without identification? They can drive cars without licenses. And someone told them they are above the law and they can do whatever they want to do within the United States. Well, at any time when chaos ensues within the United States, they can now say all of these boogeyman groups are now working all at once in targeted areas where they've been targeting you. And when you get destroyed and your family get killed, they can claim that someone in your family was a part of one of these boogeyman groups they created out of thin air.
About once every long human lifetime, we basically reshape our outer world of politics, infrastructure, and usually in violent, organized conflict. And the fourth turning is that process.
In order for that to happen, there has to be a very, very high level of fear. If that event needs to happen for us to get in line, where are we at right now?
We don't realize how close we are. We live in a country that is so split. One end has to come out on top. They either have to separate each other, but I don't see any example in history where they peacefully separate. Get back! Get back! Or they are scared straight into agreeing because we have bigger problems outside.
There's no way that's going to happen.
This is the cycle. People don't understand how history works. These things happen and they force us to do things even that we don't like. It doesn't work because it goes in the way you want it to go, but it often takes us where we have to go.
Your VA says, despite
You got it?
the risk we take, I would say we have
Are you
no
with me?
alternatives until we reach our destination.
So brothers and sisters, y'all have to think twice before y'all allow them in America to be able to demonize Israelites as terrorist groups. Because you don't realize they're not talking about Israelites on the corner. They know that we're the children of Israel. So anytime they get rid of our people, they're going to loosely try to attach them to Israelites, when really Israelites have always been their target.
despite the dangers faced, more are coming. And
Don't
our
allow
concerns-
them to do what they did over there. And because you don't like the fact that the Bible is calling you out when it comes to sin, and now you want to act like it's a group threatening your way of life because they're coming with something different, only trying to help you. Don't allow the enemy to use that, because at the end of the day, when your children are getting destroyed at a higher rate than what we see going on over there with the Palestinians,
So-called Western forces of Texas and California.
guess what? You're not going to be able to cry about it because you have allowed it by siding with the enemy and allowing them to label the only truth that can come to you as cultish or anti-God. It was the prophets who warned the world before in old times. They were all Israelites, folks. It was Christ who warned us of the time to come, the end of days, like I'm going to break down today. These were Israelites warning people. So the enemy would eventually have all these boogeymans out there that they've created throughout their letter groups, only at the very end to try to put Israelites in that same vein to destroy, where they'll be looked at no different than Hamas and these other groups. I seen online the other day, and someone asked a guy, well, all of these people got destroyed. What is Hamas? Because these people weren't Hamas. And the guy said, you can't make this up. Hamas has extended beyond an actual group. Hamas is an ideology. And we have to destroy the ideology. Oh, okay, so let me make this clear. They're not a part of Hamas. But if you kill them, you'll say they thought like Hamas, and that makes them Hamas? See, I listen to all of this, folks, because I understand at the end of the day, the same playbook is going to be used at the very end to come against us, and it's already here. Fair use. I need you all to hear what's about to pop off in Chicago. And please hit the like button before it all pops off, folks. I'm going to show you quantified how everything went over the Middle East and how it's playing over here in the United States right now, and what our people are preparing to do to defend ourselves. Why? Because if you begin to choke any area of self-reliance and or survival out of a people, the people will have no choice but to show recourse for the sake of self-preservation. If you begin to put people out of their homes, choke out their existence, minimize the opportunity for them to actually make money for themselves and feed their families, and you slowly squeeze these people out of existence, the only choice is to defend yourself alive. And that's what they have done systematically for the last 4 years against our people. So then there's going to be a timeline. They're squeezing us so that there's no upward mobility, no opportunity to make finances that can help us out of poverty. They're cutting off the middle class because the middle class sometimes frequent the high class and learn how to get their way out of the middle class. So they have to get rid of the middle class by squeezing the poor people to make it where the middle class isn't a possibility. And if you are middle class income, living single, you're in poverty. If they raise up all the prices, you can be middle class in your finances, you'll still just have enough to make it from week to week. They've made a world where there isn't two incomes in the home, and that was also strategic by splitting up man and woman.
One of the things they told me was that he was at the house one night, and we were talking, and he started laughing. He said, "Aaron, what do you think women's liberation was about?" And I said, I had pretty conventional thinking about it at that point. I said, I think it's about women having the right to work, getting equal pay with men, just like they won the right to vote, you know? And he started to laugh. He said, "You're an idiot." And I said, "Why am I an idiot?" He said, let me tell you what that was about. We, the Rockefellers, funded that. We funded Women's Lib, you know? And we're the ones who got all over the newspapers and television, the Rockefeller Foundation. He says, "And you want to know why?" He says, "There were two primary reasons. And they were, one reason was we couldn't tax half the population before Women's Lib. And the second reason was, now we get the kids in school at an early age. We can indoctrinate the kids how to think. It breaks up the family. The kids start looking at the state as the family, as the school, as the officials, as their family, not as the parents teaching them." And so those are the two primary reasons for Women's Lib, which I thought up to that point was a noble thing. You know, when I saw their intentions behind it, where they were coming from when they created it, the thought of it, I saw the evil behind what I thought was a noble venture.
So that now you can't use your money together for upward mobility and legacy money for the next generation. And they can tax either side. Two people working separate, living week to week, not enough to save. Think about that. Paying two separate rents, two separate mortgages, and they get to tax two separate people who are at odds with each other. See that? So now that they've strategically have accomplished man and woman fighting against each other, now they're going for the kill. Fair use. This is for educational purposes only. Fair use. Listen to this, folks. And then we're going in.
Ladies, there's a new housewife in town.
Fair use.
ABC's Desperate Housewives. The showdown begins Sunday, September 26th.
Well, a war is coming to the United States in months, not years. Former 24-year veteran of the Customs and Border Protection, J.J. Carroll, just uncovered the truth of what's happening with Biden's border invasion, and the war will start in black communities. That's where it's going to start first. Listen to J.J. in Chicago talking with black citizens who are being crushed right now under the weight of illegal immigrants in their communities. Watch.
This is America. This is America. There's a problem. And the people have a problem with Trump. Are you crazy? Biden did this. This is not Trump. Exactly. The Democrat Party in this city hates poor black people. And I'm talking about all of the Democrat Party. The Black Caucus and everybody else. This is a fact. They have starved the people. How do you know that? How do you know that? Because I've been in politics for the last 25 years. Ran for city council twice. They have no intentions for American citizens, especially black America. Poor black people in this city are obsolete.
And JJ joins me now, fresh off of his trip. JJ, great to see you again. You know, you've obviously confronted some of the most unbelievable circumstances as it relates to the southern border in the United States, some of the most dangerous circumstances that you've faced with arrests. How does Chicago, far away from the southern border, how does Chicago stack up with what you're used to at the southern border?
Fair use.
Chicago's a war zone. And it is a forgotten, Trump called it the forgotten America, forgotten Americans. So the reason why I went to Chicago is I believe it's a ground zero of the invasion. This is the manifestation of treason. It's going to work from the coastlines in through the inner cities of major metropolitan areas. That gentleman that you showed, Mark Clayton, is an activist. Mark Carter, is an activist in Chicago. He took me down to the south side. I had to be escorted down there because of the gang violence and all the issues.
but their local government has poured over $3 billion into their community for illegal aliens, not their community, but for illegal aliens. And they are being systematically pushed out of their communities like Inglewood. It is something I have never witnessed before. I feel like I'm traveled, I'm smart, I've been places. I'm telling you, when you go down to the south side, it is desolate, it is desperate, hopeless, violent. I would say 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5 houses are dilapidated and shuttered. The other 4 need to be shuttered. Businesses are closed and shuttered. There's no industry. They are bringing illegal aliens majority from Venezuela, and they are moving them out of their communities. Let me give you an example. The city of Chicago paid black residents that were living in these dilapidated shacks, if you will, $1,000 to move out. Well, why would the landlords in Chicago want them to move out? $1,000. Because each illegal alien has $9,000 attached to them for rent assistance. $9,000. So they're moving them out and moving them in. Now, Clayton, I talked to mega church.
Fair use. So this is why landlords are trying to get people off of Section 8, and this is why many landlords aren't accepting Section 8 vouchers anymore. Why? Because they get $9,000 to move in an illegal. Someone who hasn't paid any taxes at all. Your taxpayers' money was used to bring these people in for what I'm about to talk about. So $9,000 in a capitalistic society, $9,000 compared to what you're getting in Section 8, they would rather find a way to get these people who are on Section 8 or low income out of these places because the money is good. So what of our people? Folks, come to find out, they have the same number of migrants that came in equal to the amount of our people they're looking to get rid of.
Black pastors, street pastors, violent gang members that have come out of prison that are trying to reform their community, been in prison for murder for 21 years, another one murder for 26 years, and soup kitchen workers, everyone in between down on the south side of Chicago, black residents, black Americans. And they all say to me, to a man and woman, they say, we're going to war. And it took me back for a second, and I was like, okay, well, let's clarify what war is. And they said, whatever we have to do to maintain and protect our community. And a black pastor, the rooftop pastor, the AK rooftop pastor that Tucker Carlson interviewed for many, many months as he sat on top of a building during the winter months because of the prostitution crime that was across the street from his church, Pastor Brooks told me, we are within one black teenager being raped by these Venezuelan gangs or black Venezuelan gangs killing a black gang member or vice versa, and Chicago is going to explode. Explode. Everyone knows it, and isn't it coincidental, which I don't believe in coincidences, last week, DNC comes out and says, well, we're really kind of rethinking the Chicago DNC convention. We might do a remote. They know it as well as I do, that this is a powder keg ready to explode. Yeah, can you hold the Democratic National Convention in Chicago? I mean, what do you have to show for it? I mean, as we talked about with Mark, with the activist, he says, you're seeing Democrats have destroyed this city, so you're going to bring the Democratic National Convention there? I mean, you're right. This is a.
Now, when you get a chance, fair use, you can go to Redacted. They have a lot of good information you can parse through there. You know, very good information. But all in all, what the gangster disciples have come together. All the gangs within Chicago who was once fighting one another have come together and say, listen, these people are urinating all on our stoops. They're crapping and all that in the schoolyard. Our children cannot play. They're looking at our young girls in the community. We're just waiting for one of our people to get harmed by these immigrants or these illegals they have let in this country, and the war will pop off. Now, why is this so deep? Well, this is the play of the enemy, the cunning hunter. I told you all a long time ago how they play it. They need an excuse to bring in the National Guard. So they're purposely, folks, instigating a powder keg that they have incentivized to blow against Jacob, against our people. Now, before we go into the scriptures, let me drop this piece here for you real quick. When it comes to things like this, well, check out how when Esau operates, he operates behind a boogeyman. Remember I told you all this? Well, if they can create a scenario to have provocateurs come in, then they can start what they'll label civil war. Because what was happening over in these other countries that we were hearing when it came to Libya, Iraq, we were being lied to. We were told that these were civil wars that the UN had to come in to resolve, when there weren't no civil wars. They were using the same people, mercenaries who look like the people, Arabs and all that, who were being paid to go from one country to the next to start insurrections, to start civil unrest. And they were publicizing that here in the United States as if these were the citizens of Iraq that were upset with their government or leaders or dictators who then needed regime change. They would do it from one place to the next when these weren't the citizens of those countries. These were people who were let in who looked like the people to start insurrection so that America and others in the Western world could report it as civil war. They're going to do the same here. That's what they're doing. We don't know who these people are. And for whatever boogeyman they want to create to make it look like it's civil, they have it now. They have white Ukrainians and all that who can be what? Who can be what? Mercenaries who now move, and they can do a crime and they can blame that on what? The white right, who are seeking to protect the United States and the Constitution.
The Army and Air Force are looking to immigrants to overcome recruiting shortfalls. They've ramped up their marketing, including on social media, to entice legal immigrants to enlist. They're also using recruiters with similar backgrounds to appeal to potential recruits. But the biggest draw for migrants is the promise of a fast track to citizenship, plus jobs and education benefits. Both the Army and the Air Force have said they will not meet their recruiting goals this year.
If they want an Israelite boogeyman, because there's no Israelites who are terrorists in America, folks. That doesn't exist. We're teaching the truth. But if they want to create a boogeyman, they can have the Africans that they let in who are mercenaries and dress them up with fringes on and mitres and do something with a camera there and now claim that the Israelites did something.
We're not dumb. The real provocateur is you. You are the terrorist. We are not afraid of you. None of us are afraid of you.
I'm disgusted with you guys. Look at this country. Y'all see all these people rioting? It's repeating. Time is repeating itself. How many times do we have to come out here and do this?
See, if they want to use South Americans, they got enough illegals who are South Americans to come in, who are probably part of cartels to cause civil unrest. And now that shows negative on our other brothers, the 10 tribes who are here in America, who have come here legally to work honestly. So they have enough boogeymans for every narrative to have America crumble. I'm putting this out there now, folks, because this is what the end of days look like. You cannot bring the whole world to its knees under an order when you have a country which is the beacon of freedom, ahead of all countries. And what they hate more so than anything is the fact that something was made out of chattel slavery that you cannot organically create. What our people went through going through slavery has created something else. The voice for the voiceless. And a symbol or sign of those who went through chattel slavery and now with the word of God proclaiming freedom to the Israelites throughout the four corners of the earth. What better people to proclaim freedom than those who went through chattel slavery and was at the base and bottom of all people on earth and now have the what? Have the voice through the courage and spirit to speak truth as what? As a dead man rising from the grave. What else can you do to us? We went from the bottom. We were even rejected by our own people who sold us in Africa. And we survived like Lazarus rising from the grave. And the Most High created something out of us through those particular experiences that no one else on earth could possibly understand. We understand what it means to go from death to life. So what else can you do to us? Our own people left us for dead, and we survived. And we couldn't have done it on our own. We did it through the Spirit of the Almighty, and it developed something in us, a courage to say, listen, we're not to fear man. Fear God, who can destroy your body and spirit in hell, because we've been dead and have now been resurrected as the tribe of Judah. What else can you do to us? And because of our experience with the whole world watching since the time they threw us and discarded us away for nothing, let me tell you folks, since the time they did that, the whole world been watching. They knew that our slavery was of biblical proportion, the curse of Deuteronomy 28, and they was watching. They seen us go through reformation. They seen Tulsa, Oklahoma bombed because Israelites were proclaiming to be Israelites were building their own Wall Street there. Christian pastors were aligned with business owners. They seen us go through all that. They seen us go through the civil rights movement, the assassination of Malcolm X, the assassination of Martin Luther King. They seen it all. The resistance that came through this, and now they're saying, you know what? To add insult to injury, not only did these people rise from the dead, not only are they proclaiming to be Israelites, they are Israelites. And the voice that's speaking through them is a voice from heaven. Christ is telling the world through these people, you're living in the end of time. Jacob comes next. The end of their time. So what are they doing against Jacob? They're throwing everything at Jacob at once. Everything you can name is being thrown at Jacob. But only the faithful and those who believe can survive this. Right? Yes, sir.
I just want to say, like, at the end of the day, we're just reporting.
Yeah.
We ain't got nothing. We ain't got nothing to do with the immigrants and all that. So
exactly.
Young people
and I'm glad you're saying that, because just like the prophets and teachers of old, we're just reporting it. We have nothing to do with these immigrants. We have nothing to do with groups that would threaten other people. Folks, we're just reporting the narrative that mainstream refused to talk about. The prophetic angle. But I'm giving you the insight of how the enemy worked on a low level so that you don't get caught up in these little stories that come out of it, knowing who's actually pulling the strings. So when you see people going out there and they're marching, and guess what? Have a right to, because these migrants are going to be doing all types of stuff, harming them and all that. You go out there, you will get destroyed in the wake because you will be labeled as that shadow group they have created. Even if you're right, you go out there and become one of these people who say, man, y'all doing all this to our people, and you're out there with all of them, you are now part of the group. They're going to report it as this group is growing. This resistance group amongst the black people are growing. Something they'll create. So what you're to do is to step out of it and say, you know what? Elder Ricard Shiar, the Gathering of Christ Church, Elder Lawyer and others, they told us about this. Let me listen. Even though I'm upset, let me sit back before responding emotionally. See, they usually get you on the trigger point to get you to harm yourself. And they did that during the so-called code a few years ago. They'll usually trigger you into an emotion where you'll do a reaction. No. When it happened, do not go out amongst them. Sit back. Watch it. That's how the angels are doing this. The angels are looking at it. The heavenly view is checking it out. And if Satan baits you into the cloud of smoke, you may lose your life in it and be labeled. So we're Chester reporters here. This is how they're going to take down America. This is why America is presented as so weak. This is why they allow, give me that. You see that? Get that, if you can. This is why they've allowed a weak representation as leadership over the country, so that the whole United States will be crying for who?
Emergency
a renegade.
System announcing the commencement
an
of the
American cowboy.
by the US government. Weapons of
See?
Class 4 and lower.
And this is where Trump comes in at. They say, well, listen, I'll come in and bring order.
Government officials of ranking 10.
See, that's how they're going to do it.
From the purge and
but the order that he brings will not just destroy the people that they sent over as provocateurs.
Police, fire, and
when they come in, all of these people who are paid to come into the country will take shelter, and then they'll attack their targeted people who were targeted the whole time. Us. So they'll bring in the cowboy later. The old sheriff to bring order later. But they need this toxic scenario with the so-called illegals. These are mercenaries. And even the families that are coming over honestly to get an opportunity, they are going to be used as collateral damage. Because all mixed up within these people that are coming over are provocateurs. And this summer is going to be a doozy. Watch what I tell you. Elder Lawyer, if you will.
Yes, sir.
Let's now start off. Hit the like button, brothers and sisters. There's a few more things I want to show you and I'm going to talk about. Do not get pulled into all of these scenarios. Right now you hear them talking about Palestinians and what's going on in Palestine. That political talking point, don't even get involved in that. That have nothing to do with you. Okay? Because what they planning to do against our people in the inner cities will make what's going on with the Palestinians, it's gonna make that look like a walk in the park. I'm telling you. It's about us saving ourselves alive at this point. That's what it's about. It's none of our business what they're dealing with over there. When they're putting our sisters out on the street. You got this administration jacking up the prices, knowing that our people can't even feed themselves. And now you got other people, there's certain stores that will refuse to take EBT. And that's all the food some of our people have. So now they're going to isolate you where you can only use EBT for the same food that's killing you. Some of our people smarted up. We was like, well, okay, I'm not going to shop in the neighborhood where they're giving us alleged poison food, rat food. We've been taking our EBT and going on the outskirts of the inner city, in the suburbs, where they got organic foods, and you can see the water dripping off of the organic lettuce and all that. And like, man, am I in a Garden of Eden? You walk through one of their produce sections, you think you're in a Garden of Eden. Our people, sometimes we get it late, but I'll tell you, we've been up on game and say, listen, this EBT can go better someplace else. And we've been going to getting fresh organic food coming right back, even if we have to drive 40 minutes. Now when you go into these areas, they'll say, no, we don't accept that no more. Eat that food, you'll love it and die. So you know we have to come with solutions, right? And I'm going to go deal with some solutions today. But also, this week we're dealing with the evil in Mecca. Next week we're going to be dealing with what? Surviving Jacob's trouble. We're going to go through all of the prophets and all of that to show you in crisis how they were able to deal with it from a what? A worldly standpoint with resources, and a spiritual standpoint, having faith to know how to accumulate the resources and how to utilize those resources through the crisis. We look at how our forefathers survived and understand that they'll give you a certain amount of time to accumulate resources before it's cut off. And I'm telling you folks, we're in that time. What I'll say now is we got about 2.5 to 3 years to get all the resources we'll need. They're going to have to carry us the rest of the way before it's all cut off. So now we have to understand, okay, how do we plan? With the resources we have, how do we make that stretch? How did our forefathers do so? Maybe we're going to have to do what some of these other people who have now leapfrogged us do. Sometimes these other nations come together in one house and they share a house together because they can get along to save resources.
Across the country, ordinary Americans from all walks of life are taking whatever measures necessary to prepare for what they perceive as the end of the world as we know it. Next, we go inside the lives of 3 committed preppers to see if they have what it takes to survive. This is Doomsday Preppers.
But our people can't do that. We can't live in the same house with our family without it becoming what? A powder keg. Maybe we have to pull together and not try to keep up with the Joneses to survive through this. Maybe we need to find out that the food we're eating has seeds in it, so that if there's certain foods we want, we got getting it from our garden. So all of that and more, I'll go into the next Hebrew and Bible Academy week 7. Week 7 is going to be the one. Surviving Jacob's trouble. It's going to be a very informative breakdown on how the prophets got through crisis and all of that. Like I said, the theme of this academy will be making it through Jacob's trouble. Surviving Jacob's trouble will be week 7. We'll go into what Abraham went through, Isaac, Jacob, us in Egypt, even how Christ actually put together with the disciples how to come together at the end time. You see people where it says all things common. That will happen. But we're not supposed to be doing all things common now. That's survival mode. That's when everything breaks down and then everything is pulled together to get all of us through. You're not supposed to be doing all things common right now. You know why? Because you can have a tyrant at the head of it now, and he'll just be grabbing everything for himself, squeezing out the men.
Perhaps you see this place as nothing more than a mirage.
Sunning the men amongst them. I need y'all to think about that. If a woman,
what do you think of the king?
Think about this. If a woman see her husband who worked for the legacy of their family give all their money to one man who owned things, who do you think she's going to want? You think she's going to want you?
What we are doing here is a secret.
Or the man you giving her money to?
They needed someone to follow, so I acted.
Your money is supposed to be for the legacy of your family. A just weight for a just measure. And if your family work together, the last thing, what simple man gonna sit there with the money that he've accumulated for his family and give everything to one man who's talking about, yeah, let's live on the land? Your woman is, look, you've been sunned. And you can't use the scriptures for that, because all things common comes down when everything breaks down and there is no resources. That's when you pull and distribute amongst the saints.
Have something in common.
Not to mention, that's the perfect imagery to develop a narrative of a cult.
That's a cult. Yeah, go ahead, Evan.
No, that's the point. I mean, if you're talking about trying to be under the radar and to avoid these various narratives, which is why we put certain things in place to try to establish something like that. You're walking into the narrative of what one would consider to be a cult.
Yeah, and when we seen people doing this a long time ago, I said it among the elders, I say it out. The last thing you want is all things common, and because only thing you need, here it is.
Right. You said 12, I count 11.
The only thing you need is for one person to get offended for all the dominoes to drop. That's it.
After we have talked about
because you're going to have people who's going to figure out that, listen, I want to leave here. I'm not satisfied. And then the first thing they're going to say is, where's my money? Well, what money? Look at all of this is your money.
Bringing the balance of what you owe tomorrow.
What money?
He's bleeding out.
You agreed to come on my compound. And now you're leaving broke with rabbit ears, mad at the man that convinced your man to give your money to him.
We do.
Don't try to use Peter and the disciples for that. Because we're living in a society where you can earn. When things break down, then it's all things common. Well, what we got, because there's nothing left.
You said I could do it.
There's nothing left. Now it's all things common. I wish somebody would say you set up something and tell people, hey, give all your money to me. Who would even think that? Sell everything you got and give it to one man. That's utterly crazy. Because at the end of the day, there's only one man that's going to benefit from that. And the woman is looking at him like, man, this guy must be the guy.
Good luck.
If my husband can give the legacy in the future to this guy, why am I with him?
We didn't think we were going to die tonight.
You're going to die tonight?
And there's a pattern that goes with it. Once people start looking, let me tell you, a woman cannot respect a man who's going to be sunned by another man. And then you groveling all up under that man every time you look at him. And you're groveling, and your woman is looking. Like, okay, you flex with me.
Hell's got the kids. You got it.
But you're acting like a little son to this man?
Sorry, Eugene.
He's like, listen, next thing you know, that man with all of your cash is now winking at your woman.
Promise me you.
Like, yeah, you know, there's only can be one of me, so. There only can be one of me, but I can have many of you. I just gotta figure out what these rules are that I can circumvent so that she could be next to me. Let me tell you, if a man can use scriptures to deceive someone into giving all they earn to them, they can manipulate any scripture out there.
Are they yours?
to justify their actions.
Trav, sorry. You like him?
It's a pleasure to meet you, Princess. I am Ezekiel, and these
That's
are my
utterly
friends,
ridiculous.
Gene and Yumiko. So
All things common is when everything breaks down.
Right, yeah, of course.
And guess what? When all things common happens, whoever has the most, give everything first.
Location of your settlement. Do you think this is funny?
The greatest among you shall be your servant.
What did you do before the fall? Let me guess. Asshole beat cop.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to know.
Now let's go in, Elder Lloyd. Jeremiah 30. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. Jeremiah 30, verse number 5.
Let's go. Hold on.
In fact, I started 4.
Hold on, let me grab it here. All right, Elder Lloyd, you got it.
Yes, sir. Jeremiah 30 and 4.
Yes.
And these are the words that the Lord spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now, and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness.
So it says, for thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. So here's the prophets talking about our people coming into these troubles at the end of time, where it seems as if there's a conspiracy to press us to the degree in which we no longer exist.
Denver International Airport holds some of the most bizarre conspiracies you've ever heard. From underground tunnels and secret societies to the infamous Blucifer, known for its hot red eyes and cold blue skin. This web of mysteries gets thicker as you crawl toward the center. One of the concerning stories begins with the creator of the popular sculpture, Blucifer. In 1992, the Blue Mustang was commissioned to Luis Jimenez for $300,000, but was not erected at Denver Airport until 2008. You see, Jimenez suffered medical setbacks due to health issues. To make matters worse, one day he had a heart attack, and much sooner, he would require surgeries on his hands. Throughout this period, Denver airport officials had been waiting to display the Mustang, and quite frankly, they had run out of patience. After many missed deadlines, the city sued Jimenez for the $165,000 it had paid him up front. He countersued. The agreement reached was for Jimenez to complete the sculpture. However, on the 13th of June 2006, while Jimenez was working on the statue, one of the large sections of the Mustang hoisted above him fell, pinning him down like a small rabbit caught in a giant owl's grasp. He bled to death on the spot. Now, some reports say it was the torso, and others say it was the hindquarters. Would you call this a coincidence? One of the sculptures in his studio depicts the scene flawlessly. Nonetheless, the sculpture was unveiled in Denver 2 years later, after his death. Being the creator of the sculpture, news of Jimenez's death spread, causing rumors and brand new conspiracies. But upon further scrutiny, are these even conspiracies? Or could they be real? Here's a quick tour. As you approach Denver's mysterious airport, you might feel a little uneasy. The modern building rises up from the flat Colorado plains, like a futuristic castle. Its sharp angles and tall points reach up towards the sky, giving it a somewhat strange and interesting appearance. That looks oddly familiar. When you enter the terminal, you'll notice a modern and sleek design. The air is thick with the hum of fluorescent lights. A big mural called New World Order dominates the wall with strange symbols and imagery that spark whispers of secret societies and government plots. Look up, and you'll see creepy stone gargoyles perched on top of the pillars. Their eyes seem to glow intensely, as if warning travelers of the unknown forces that might be lurking in the airport's corridors. While many of Denver Airport's secrets are hidden from view, others are openly displayed. This is Leo Tanguma, the artist responsible for the creation of 2 controversial murals. Children of the World, Dream of Peace, depicts contrasting scenes. One section shows a soldier wielding weapons amidst scenes of war and death, while the other section portrays children from around the world laying down their weapons and coming together in peace. His second mural, Peace and Harmony with Nature, shows children mourning environmental destruction and extinction in one section, while the other portrays children working together to restore and celebrate nature. Tanguma himself has said these murals express a desire for global peace and harmony with nature. However, some viewers have focused on the themes of war, death, and destruction, interpreting the artworks as containing hidden messages about the apocalypse and a future tyrannical government. Much later, a photographic series documenting Denver's airport construction by Alex Sweetman's Art Chronicles raised a few brows. You see, while many of his photos capture beautiful scenes, one photo of a field of dead sunflowers caused unease. Is it a coded message about something sinister, or simply a reflection of the changing seasons? But here's the giant question. Why are these works in an airport? If you ever visited Denver Airport, you could miss the two small gargoyles perched in the east and west baggage claim areas. Compared to the huge blue horse and the giant murals, these lovely sculptures don't quite stand out. But these stone creatures have been a common feature in religious architecture for centuries, including the famous Cathedral of Notre Dame in Paris. However, some visitors have misinterpreted these particular gargoyles as symbols of evil rather than benevolent guardians, the airport claims. Shortly after people's complaints, talking gargoyles were installed. Yeah, not weird at all.
That's a little too close for comfort, lady.
Oh, damn.
What, you never seen a talking gargoyle before? Welcome to Illuminati headquarters. I mean, Denver International Airport.
Some viewers found the statue as a good addition, and others not so much. The most clever trick Lucifer ever played on human beings is to convince them he doesn't exist. Another user said, hide in plain sight so that they never question it. Genius. The crazy part about this is, it could be a real gargoyle, and people couldn't tell the difference.
This is awesome.
Hello? Do I know you?
Are you hungry?
Oh, I'm starving. You got anything for me? Those flowers look delicious.
Oh my God! Oh, it's because of the conspiracy.
Oh, it's because of the conspiracy. Look at me. I'm a little know-it-all. Will you get back over here? I got a question about this conspiracy. Did you have to buy an extra seat for your hat, sir? Sir, are you stealing a desk? Sir, you have resting, confused face. Do you have a favorite animal or pet?
A caterpillar.
A caterpillar? Wouldn't you rather have a gargoyle?
No!
Yes! You know, you can actually put the phone down and have a conversation with me. But no, I'm a millennial. I've got to post it. I've got to snap face it and Twitter book it.
You might think some of these are bogus or wild claims at best, but there are some theories that are sure to leave you scrambling. In 1995, Denver's primary airport, Stapleton, was replaced by DIA. At this time, conspiracies surrounding the airport argued that Stapleton was perfectly fine and didn't need replacement, although there is one undeniable fact. Stapleton's runway layout was flawed. The parallel runways were positioned too close together, compromising safety during bad weather conditions, which occurred approximately 150 days a year. This problem led to a huge reduction in hourly arrivals, from 80 to 36. In contrast, Denver's runway design avoids this issue, but it does have a distinct feature above ground. Can you see it? While this might be dismissed as poor planning, it takes on a more serious tone when combined with other unusual aspects of the airport. Now you finally arrive at baggage claim, home to massive murals by Leo Tanguma, Children of the World Dream of Peace, and In Peace and Harmony with Nature. These might sound like uplifting themes, but the artwork itself tells a different story. One of death, destruction, and despair. Soldiers with death masks wield guns as children cower in fear, and the world lies in ruins. Some people also believe these artworks depict doomsday scenarios. The DIA is a hub for biological warfare. One viewer said, but Tanguma himself has revealed that his murals are meant to be hopeful, describing a world where children dream of peace and harmony. Well, that's one way to put it. The narrative might end on a high note, but it's hard to shake off the feeling of unease that flows throughout these works. The most ambitious theory yet might be that Denver International Airport is the headquarters for an underground government, with rumors of hidden tunnels below the airport. Which begs the question, where do these mysterious tunnels lead? Are they secretly connected to an underground bunker, hidden from prying eyes? Have you clicked the subscribe button for more mystery documentaries? You see, many conspiracy theorists believe that DIA is more than just an airport, with some calling it the nerve center for a sinister force, like the New World Order, or even the American government itself. You might think that's far-fetched. Well, there are buried buildings beneath the airport. Now that's a pretty strange coincidence. Are they hiding something? Flash backwards to 2007, a whistleblowing construction worker alleged that some project was delayed because at least 5 multi-story buildings were completed and then mysteriously buried underneath the airport. A few days later, he and some co-workers also testified to the existence of a complex network of underground tunnels. But on the 16th of February that year, something strange happened. Reports say the windshields of 13 planes cracked while at Denver Airport, a staggering number that left experts baffled, and not a single explanation in sight. The weather was ruled out, and our birds weren't the culprits either. What do you think was behind this incident? Was this evidence of a nearby testing facility, or something else? The truth remains behind a fog of mystery. Another step into the fog, and you arrive at Denver Airport's tunnel system. You see, Denver had 2 standard connecting concourses, but they wanted something different, an automated baggage system. This project raised more questions than answers, costing more than $560 million. The system was supposed to streamline baggage handling, but it failed miserably during testing and never recovered. What's even more baffling is that it was abandoned by most concourses by 2005, despite its hefty price tag. So, what was the real motive behind this failed project? Was it just a clever cover for something more devious, like the construction of secret tunnels? Flash forwards to the present, and some disputes have surfaced challenging every major theory. You see, early on, one of the most intriguing theories about Denver Airport was that its runways resembled a swastika, and at first glance there seems to be a likeness to the notorious symbol. But as we dig deeper, the real reason behind this design becomes straightforward. The design of the runways is actually a clever way to maximize efficiency and minimize disruptions during bad weather or strong winds. Spreading out the runways this way, with multiple sections, would allow for simultaneous use, reducing the need for shutdowns and smoother traffic flow. Now take a closer look at the runway. This time, what do you see? Our brains are wired to seek patterns, and the airport's design creates a sense of recognition, but upon closer inspection, the swastika loses its shape. Remember that the elements traced in the graphic were chosen to best define the expected pattern, not because of their importance. Even then, many elements must be ignored to maintain the illusion of a swastika. So, is this really a sinister plot, or just a smart design solution? Another bogus claim was about the New World Order. The dedication capstone at Denver Airport features a Masonic crest and mentions the New World Airport Commission, which has sent conspiracy theorists into a frenzy. According to them, the New World Airport Commission is just a cover for the big bad, the Freemasons, century-old secret society pulling the strings with major ties to the New World Order, a group of global elites who wield power over international affairs. But as it turns out, the New World Airport Commission is actually a real thing, and there are countless articles and documents to prove it. 36 years ago, the commission was formed by Charles Ansbacher, chair of the state's Council on the Arts and Humanities, to organize the airport's opening festivities. It was temporary and disbanded soon after the airport opened. The name New World comes from Dvorak's symphony, also known as the New World Symphony. A short glance away from the capstone, and you'll be face to face with these strange inscriptions on the ground. Like with most things, the majority of the public has shown divided interest in these ominous markings. Some think they're in a secret Kabbalistic language, and others don't mind the artistic works, but they're actually in a peculiar language called Navajo. Recently, most of these inscriptions have been translated, with some of them reading White Mountain, Tall River, and a sacred mountain for the Navajo people. Some other inscriptions like Ao and Ag have also caused serious stir. Now, some of you might think this is a nod to Colorado's rich mining history, and you'd be right. But on the opposite side, some folks think it's a secret code for a deadly pathogen called the Australian antigen, except antigens trigger immune responses. The irony here is the antigen is actually used to diagnose and treat hepatitis B, and not to wipe humanity from existence, which leads to the next major theory, Lucifer, the demon horse. After all, this horse did kill its creator, right? One of the major reasons why people believe the blue horse is evil, frankly, is due to its appearance. And if you disagree, well, imagine seeing this in your dreams. Just as large as the 32-foot massive horse are the controversial murals by Tanguma. Leo Tanguma's 3-paneled mural, Children of the World, Dream of Peace, has been on the tip of many lips. The first panel, in particular, has raised a fury of eyebrows with its haunting imagery, which some claim foretells a dystopian future under the grip of a new world order. But, as with most things, context is key. The first panel shows the devastating effects of war, with grieving parents, ruined buildings, and children seeking refuge in the rubble. A faceless soldier is shown piercing a dove with their sword, symbolizing the destruction of peace. This panel has understandably garnered the most attention, and you can see why. The second panel displays the catastrophic consequences of climate change, with dead animals and humans lying in coffins. Children from diverse backgrounds gaze on in shock and disbelief as a forest burns in the background, but the final panel offers a glimmer of hope, showcasing people from all walks of life embracing each other and rejoicing. Weapons of war are repurposed as tools for peace, and children lead the charge. A broken statue of the faceless soldier lies discarded, symbolizing humanity's triumph over aggression. However, when viewed as a whole, the mural tells a story of humanity's journey from darkness to light. While some of Tanguma's work may be unsettling, the overall theme is one of hope and resilience. But if you ever visit Denver's airport and can't find some of the giant murals, well, that's because they've been kept since renovation started in 2018. Nevertheless, its legacy lives on, sparking conversations outside and inside the airport. In June 2010, another sculpture caused serious outrage online. This was a 22-foot Anubis statue, erected as part of an ad campaign for the Denver Art Museum. Despite being privately funded and removed after the exhibit ended, talks about the sculpture still persist in the darker corners of the internet. When you think of baggage claim in Denver, you think of murals and talking gargoyles. Although the airport has released several claims that gargoyles, perched on the east and west columns in suitcases, are meant to protect travelers' luggage, their demonic faces have led some to believe they're part of the airport's sinister agenda. Remember that oddly strange design? You might have noticed Denver Airport's roof bearing striking resemblance to the Ku Klux Klan hood, but the airport has also released official statements saying the designs are inspired by Rocky Mountains and the region's natural landscape. Now that's a pretty wild coincidence. Burial grounds. This was another of such claims. Not so long ago, the airport's construction faced so many setbacks, fueling early conspiracies. One allegation was that the site was built on an ancient Native American burial ground, causing the design and construction issues, as well as a metalworkers' strike. However, no Native American tribe or organization had made such claims. In fact, historical evidence proves the site was a hunting ground and not a burial ground. Equally, no evidence has been available to back up the group of construction workers that claimed some underground bunkers were secretly being built. The airport quickly released that these tunnels only stretch out to the airport's perimeter, covering a distance of less than 2 miles. Nonetheless, most people weren't satisfied. A few people saw some of these revelations as fictitious, but the majority of the public was still concerned. In reality, the tunnels beneath the airport are primarily for maintenance and baggage routing. You see, a couple of months over the deadline of the auto baggage system, the DIA board agreed to abandon the project as the overhead costs were already in the red, and maintenance of such a system would be ridiculous. While there may be some truth to the existence of underground facilities, there is no evidence to support the claim of massive buildings designed to sustain an elite colony through an apocalypse. But the sheer lack of evidence never stopped any group of extremists. A new branch later claimed the underground facilities were designed to detain those who challenged their authority. Another theorist proposed that. It's a deep underground military base, connected to the NORAD facility at Cheyenne Mountain via a tunnel. Take another blink, and these ideas raise significant logistical concerns, as the tunnel would need to be approximately 90 miles long, a feat that would surpass even the most impressive engineering achievements. While water tunnels can stretch quite the distance, a tunnel of this magnitude for military or transportation purposes is highly improbable. You do have to wonder, for all the conspiracy theories that have been floating around, from talking gargoyles to demon horses and underground bunkers, none seem to address why the all-wise and all-powerful Illuminati are so keen for everyone to know what they're hiding under Denver Airport. I mean, why go through the effort of placing so many blatant clues in broad daylight? Imagine hanging a big flashing sign with the words "Secret Base" lit up in Mustang red. Here's what Heath Montgomery, a spokesperson of Denver International Airport, told the Denver Post during 2016's October Conspiracy Month.
No matter what you do, you lose. You show people the tunnels and explain the symbols, you lose. You clam up and deny it, you lose. So that's why we've started to have fun with it, because people are going to believe what they believe, regardless of hard evidence.
However, if some mastermind was planning to wipe out humanity or make you click this video, hiding it in plain sight would be genius.
And folks, no matter, listen to me and listen to me clear. If you haven't heard anything today, whatever they come out with at the end of it will suffer more than any other people.
One question from me. Where does any synthetic molecule serve the living?
They don't.
Right.
I mean, none.
And am I right in suggesting that a medicine, by definition, is something which contains synthetic molecules, something that is registered, patented, and put into the market as a medicine?
Absolutely.
Proper. Right. So what I'm learning from you, Dr. Young, is that a quadrillion-dollar enterprise is at work amongst us, decimating, culling the human family.
Intentionally.
Intentionally, using synthetic molecules which by design are are cancer, AIDS, all of the
It's
bogeymen
for
you
the,
could dream up.
yeah, it's for the purpose of sterilization and population control. There's too many people on the planet we need to get rid of. In the words of Bill Gates, at least 3 billion people need to die. So we'll just start off in Africa. We'll start doing our research there, and we'll eliminate most of the Africans because they're deplorable. They're worthless. They're not part of this world economy. So they have their rights taken away, and they're suppressed and they're experimented.
And the multilateral agencies and the health and regulatory so-called authorities and agencies appear in the main to have become weaponized and appear, I again use the word appear advisedly, we're not casting judgments here, we're taking depositions, listening to expert testimonies, appear to be weaponized and appear to be working in collusion against the living men and women of the soil. Is that a fair statement?
It is. It's not a bacterial war. It's a systemic poisoning war, and they're using chemical warfare.
Anything, you will know at the end of it who was the intended target from the beginning. Even when it came to the jab and all that, look how it affected our people. So understand, whatever they put out there, it's an indirect, they'll do misdirection, but their aim is to circle around to destroy us because we're the target the whole time. Jacob.
End times. Quick little testimony. A couple years ago, I started to speak on the upcoming years and things that would transpire relating to the prophecies. Things that will soon come to pass in the book of Daniel, relating to Hamashiach's return and the children of Israel in Jacob's trouble. I did not expect certain things to transpire this soon. We 2 years in after 2020, and look where we at. We close. Blood on my hands if I don't speak. If we don't want the sheep, how they gon' know? Gotta tell our people stay alert. Get ready for what's coming on this earth. Contractions getting closer, she giving birth. The water broke, somebody get the nurse. Keep your head on the swivel, stay alert. Cause judgment is coming to this earth. New day, same message, seek repentance. Something's coming, I don't know when, but I can feel it. This the last call, alarms ringing, can you hear it? Don't hit that snooze button, you don't know who's coming. You rejected, that's on you, I'm still gon' sow a seed. Rise up, hold your head up, cause you royalty. This ain't the time to be slacking, it's time to get active. Ain't no half stepping, the word is your last weapon. Blood on my hands if I don't speak. If we don't want the sheep, how they gon' know? Gotta tell our people stay alert. Get ready for what's coming on this earth. Contractions getting closer, she giving birth. The water broke, somebody get the nurse. Birth pains. Back to back to back to back.
Who that? Them lines on the keys?
It's about to erupt. Look in the sky, a full moon and it's bloody. I think that it's time, nowhere we can hide. It's right at the door. I quoted Psalm 91. Thousands may fall at my side. I pray your mercy endures. Abba, you all that we got. You said that you would seal us, protect us and shield us. It's a target on us. The enemies know the tribes is back. Let's call a fast like Jehoshaphat. 2 Chronicles, chapter 20. Moabites and Ammonites. This battle ain't yours, it's mine. That's a scary sight. We gon' sing a song of praise in the midst of war. Cause if he go before us, we won't have to lift a sword. The same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Won't he do it again? Correct me if I'm wrong. If we humble ourselves and pray, seek his face, turn from our wicked ways. Ain't that what the scriptures say? If the Father with us, can't nobody stop us. If we trust in our own strength and our own power, we'll always be defeated. It's strength in numbers, but keep in mind, in Leviticus 26, it said 5 of us shall chase 100. 100 of us shall chase 10,000. What if it was 1 million of us on one accord doing the same thing, giving the Father praise. If he go before us, can't nobody stop us. It ain't about war and wanting to fight and shed blood. It's about the Father's perfect will being done on this earth. In this season, a great division is happening. Those who seek to do the Father's will, and those who want to do their own will. Choose wisely. Shalom. In times,